La 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 la. Okay, let's start.
Okay, I'm asking you questions now. Why do you like martial arts?
That's a good question, actually. I really like the fact that you have to learn with your body as well as your mind. I like the fact it challenges you. I like the fact there's a discipline to learning something. And I like the fact that it's an all-round experience. Everything coming together at once. Your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Okay. How long have you been doing martial arts?
33 years now. 33 years. I started in the beginning of 1985 when I was just your age, in fact, a young kid.
What inspires you?
What inspires me? What inspires me or inspired me to start martial arts?
Well, what inspired you to start martial arts?
What inspired me to start martial arts? Well, I was very young at the time, but at the time there was a very popular person in martial arts called Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee, there was loads of films going around, Hollywood films of Bruce Lee, and some Chinese martial artists like Jet Li. And I used to love watching those movies, and I was a young, impressionable kid, and I enjoyed the thought of being able to do martial arts like him myself.
Do you do different types of martial arts?
Yeah, I do loads. Yeah, so now I do Muay Thai, kickboxing, I do boxing, I do Kali and Jeet Kune Do, JKD. Obviously I do Bushin, and I still do a little bit of MMA, BJJ, although my body's quite broken, so I can't do too much of it anymore.
How many black belts have you got?
Technically, I've got 4. I suppose if you include Bushin, I've got 5. This is like my ego wall up here behind me, which is, I suppose, is all my certificates. So this is my black belt in Jeet Kune Do and Kali under Bob Breen. This is my black belt in Shrinji Kempo, which I'm a 5th dan, 5th degree black belt in that. So I did that for like over 20 years. This is my black belt in technician in Wing Chun, and this one is my black belt in Taekwondo. So I've got a range of martial arts that I've done, and then Bushin, I did gradings in Bushin to make sure I could meet the levels, and I graded up to black belt in Bushin with some of my colleagues.
How long have you been teaching?
A long time too. I would say close to 30 years. I originally started teaching in my first club. I was an assistant instructor there and the captain of the club. And then I opened my first club when I went to university in Southampton, and that would have been in 91 or early 92. I opened my first club, and then after that I opened up some clubs in London and run those. And I've also been teaching, I taught in East Africa, I taught in Tanzania and Kenya, and I trained in Japan for a couple of years, and I taught there as well when I was training at that club.
Who is your greatest influence?
Yes. There's probably been loads of people that have influenced me. I've had lots of fantastic instructors and coaches over the years. I would suppose the greatest influence, certainly in the last 10 years, has been Guru Bob Breen, who's the grandfather of Jeet Kune Do in Europe. He's the person who pioneered Europe, and he's an amazing martial artist and probably the best teacher I've ever met in martial arts. And I held an instructorship under him, as well as a few other people over the years. I've had instructorships under like Eddie Quinn, but I think Bob Breen probably has been the biggest influence, and certainly me, and certainly on Bushin and how we've shaped Bushin.
When did you start Bushin?
About 10 years ago. This year is our 9th anniversary year, but it took us about a year of trial and testing and everything to put it all together and formulate the syllabus. It's gone through many iterations and changes, but it's been an evolving process. It's been very, very rewarding. Been a very rewarding journey and very pleasing so far. So next year will be our 10th anniversary officially, although it's been going 10 years.
What is your favourite technique?
My favourite technique? I used to love doing lots of kicks, particularly. I can't do so much anymore, but I used to enjoy doing lots of kicking. And I did certainly did taekwondo or shrinji kempo. My favourite kick, I suppose, is the question mark kick. Do you know the question mark kick?
Nope.
It goes like a question mark, so it goes straight and then it hooks round like a question mark. So you looks like you're going to kick someone to the body, and then you hook round and you kick them to the head from the side. And I have very good success with that kick. I get a lot of people with it. Any other questions?
What do you love most about martial arts?
I enjoy the challenge of martial arts to yourself in many different aspects. I love learning new techniques. I love understanding how the body works. But I most of all enjoy the challenge of being able to respond to a fight or respond to a situation, or respond to different people, respond to different attacks, and it being very physically demanding, very mentally demanding. I enjoy all those aspects of martial arts.
Have you ever been in a fight?
Yes, not for a long time. I'm an old man now, but I used to get into fights when I was a younger person. Nothing much to be proud of, particularly, I suppose. But yes, quite a few of the situations I got into were mainly verbal. I didn't really get into a physical fight, but there was elements of physical fights I got into too. And I found out what worked and what didn't work on the streets very, very quickly.
Why did you start Bushin?
Yes, well, a lot of reasons. Partly partly politics in my old martial arts, but I think the main, partly frustration actually with the old martial arts, because they only go so far. They're all good in some ways, but they're all very limited in other ways. What I wanted to do with Bushin was bring it all together, try and grab the best bits of everything. It's what Bruce Lee always said: take what's useful, make it your own, and throw away what's not useful. And I've tried to do that with Bushin, and because Bushin is a blend of everything, we try to get people to be their own unique street fighters, which is ultimately what you should be. You shouldn't be all look like the same and train the same and act the same. So with my idea with Bushin was not really to be a cage fighting system or an MMA, and it wasn't to be a traditional system where you're constrained by rules and forms and so forth, but somehow to bring it together, somehow bring martial arts to the street, make it practical and make it individual and adaptive to yourself.
What advice can you give to a martial artist?
I suppose the main things really is don't forget your beginner's heart, which is often a very famous Japanese saying. I think that's very true. It's very easy to get into a rhythm and forget why you started martial arts in the first place. So you've got to be enthusiastic and motivated. Secondly, you need to train hard, because otherwise you won't improve. And probably the hardest thing and most important thing is never give up. Very easy to give up martial arts or give up anything, because most people join the gym, go for 3 months and then stop. And martial arts are there for your whole life. So the best thing I think for most martial arts is if they can do all those three, they'll probably have a very long career as I have, and hopefully a very successful career. Any more questions?
No.
Oh, is that all?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your difficult questions.
And thank you for answering my difficult question.